What's going on, everybody? We are going to talk a little baseball, and for that, we are joined, of course, by our Diamondbacks insider, Ben. Ben, how you doing, man? Been a while. Been a couple weeks.
Doing well, doing well. Could be better, but we're hanging in there, hanging in there.
That's the way these always start right now with this
Yeah,
team. Like it's like a little frustrated. It's a long year. We got a way to go, but
long ways to go.
it's what it's been. It's what this Arizona team has been giving us so far this season. It feels like, since the last time we talked, a little bit of an uptick, not a crazy little bit, but a little bit. And now we're sitting almost 75 games into the year and sitting at 500 right now, still in fourth place in the division, which, I mean, you got to be 10 games over 500 to be, trying this division right now. But same things going on, same problems, same kind of things that kind of get you excited. But now 75 games in, how are you feeling about this team? How are you feeling about kind of where they are in the season so far?
Oh man, it's a long road. I mean, right now you've just been hampered by injuries. I mean, even today, there's two more injuries with AJ fucking Gabriel Moreno. So you're just trying to weather the storm and roll with the punches at this point. You just went into Toronto, played a really good Toronto ball club. Could have had 2 out of 3. Could have won the series. You gave it up on the first game of the series. The second game of the series, you just looked lost. Came back on the third. This team knows how to answer back. I mean, no pun intended, but they truly aren't having these games this season where, like on Saturday, back against the Reds, or the Toronto game that just happened, where they just look kind of lost out there. That's not necessarily the case. And when it happens, they do bounce back. I'm not out on them just yet, but this trade deadline looming is going to be one of the biggest upcoming trade deadlines that they've had in years. There's a lot of things that this Diamondbacks team needs to fix, though, if they want to even contend with its division, let alone going into the wild card playoffs, if wild card spot, if they want to try and make the playoffs.
They are like the definition of a roller coaster ride right now. When you look at the last few weeks, I mean, they lose 3 straight. Before that, they'd won 5 straight, including sweeping the Mariners. Then right before that, had gotten swept by the Reds, and right before that, they had swept the Braves, and even tacked on a win against the Nats before that, and won 4 straight. I mean, it is just up and down and up and down, and emotionally, it is
roller coaster of a season.
It is emotionally draining to watch what is going on with this team. But there's a few things to dive into, like you mentioned. We got the trade deadline coming up and everything. Why don't we start with that piece, actually, because I think that is really kind of dictating what they should do, where they are in this year, and kind of indicative of what we really believe this team can and should do and, could be.
Mm-hmm.
You at with that? Or are we at a point now, because of how good the division is and because how glaring some of the holes really are, that they need to sell? Or is it, that bullpen is just atrocious, and if we can shore that up, maybe then, we can actually make a run of this thing if we're able to kind of patchwork on the holes that we have. We clearly have the other pieces in play, but it also kind of plays to who's available there for, in the bullpen as well. They go out and trade. So
100%. These guys are fighting for each other. I mean, like they've grown up with each other. They don't want to be sellers. Mike Hazen has come out and said that they don't want to be sellers. They're in this. He hates the idea of getting a bunch of prospects that you don't know what's going to happen, when he doesn't want to give up on these guys, especially with how much they've done. He recognizes that they could easily make a run and go back to the World Series if they have the right pieces. You got to give something to get something, though. That's where I should, like,
Sox, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. And so what are you willing to give up? The 2 biggest names that I've heard before I go into the pitching is Eugenio Suarez and Josh Naylor. Obviously, Gino's just had this breakout year. He's going to be a free agent. Is he going to replicate probably the 22 home runs, what he's doing before the All-Star break? I'm not necessarily sure. He's going to be a free agent. He's probably going to get paid on the way he's playing right now. Yeah. Josh Naylor is kind of on the down. I mean, we thought he was going to have as many home runs next to Gino. We thought his long ball was going to be 9 home runs. He's been all right, but if you're going to part ways with anybody to go get some pitching, I think Josh Naylor would be the piece. You still have Pavin Smith at first. I don't necessarily think that is gonna be the move. I know a lot of people have been rumoring Josh Naylor. The couple things that I'm looking at too is it's unfortunate, but Merrill Kelly and Zach Allen are also free agents next year. Merrill Kelly's been arguably the Diamondbacks' best pitcher this season. I mean, it probably is the best. I mean, he's been dominating. Of course, his start against the Yankees, first start of the season against the Yankees, you wipe that out. I mean, he's easily in contention for one of the gnarliest pitchers the MLB has to offer. Um, but you look at Zach Gallen, he doesn't look the same. And he's been a phase of the franchise. Torey Lovello loves the guy. He rides him. He was his opening day starter. Um, those guys have been tied at the hip. And Mike Hazen and Torey Lovello truly trust each other. I don't know if Zach or Merrill might be on their way out. Some prospects might be on their way out, but you got to go get some pitching for this team. And I understand the glaring need for bullpen and starting pitching, but it's got to go with the bullpen first. Right now, if you're not going to trade Merrill and Zach, roll with them. Roll with Merrill, roll with Zach, roll with Ryan, roll with Thought and Erod, and then go get yourself some bullpen pitching to give your guys a shot. If that's what Mike Hazen wants to do, and give your guys a shot, give the Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte a shot. That's what you have to do. I know MLB's Mark Feinstein put out an article, and he rumored two people for the Diamondbacks, and it was Jake Bird, a right-handed pitcher from the Rockies, and Edward Cabrera, a right-handed pitcher from the Marlins. And I've noticed Edward Cabrera being tied in rumors to Diamondbacks a lot. Marlins and Rockies, two teams that have nothing going for them right now. They have a couple of good pieces. It wouldn't shock me if those guys got moved. And if one of them, was able to lay into the Diamondbacks lap, that could really help. It's just, what are you going to give up? And the teams that are calling about Josh Naylor aren't the Rockies and the Marlins.
Yeah, Kelly got an ERA right now is pretty solid at 3.4. But when you start talking about some of the other guys that are in that pitching staff, there's a lot of work that could be done. I've mentioned before we started that there was a stat I wanted to talk to you about.
Let's go.
Curious. Let's dive into the numbers because baseball is a number. Where do you think this Diamondbacks bullpen ERA ranks in the bigs right now?
In the bigs? It's got to be top 5 worst.
It is top 5 worst. It is the 3rd worst in baseball.
Oh.
Behind only the A's, who, by the way, what they are making their fans in that minor league ballpark go through over there right now, their bullpen has an ERA on the season of 6.13.
Yeah.
That is as bad as you possibly can be. Washington's right ahead of them, but Arizona's 3rd worst at 5.42.
Yeah.
That ain't cutting it.
And credit to Jack Summers from Sports Illustrated. He actually tweeted something out too recently that they were top 5 worst in Diamondbacks franchise history as well. And I think they were top 3 in that one, if I remember correctly.
Tied for 3rd worst also in the bigs for most blown saves. So,
it's been bad. It's been bad. And you moved on from the Joe Manaplies. We moved on from the old Miguel Castros. But you're bringing in guys like Jay Feiereisen. That didn't work out. Anthony DeSclafani. That's not really working out. Shelby Miller is a great setup man. He's an awesome setup man. And he's shown that he can be a closer, but then he also shown that he can't be a closer. And if you look good in one game and you don't look good in the reason why the Diamondbacks lost that World Series, one of the biggest reasons was because Paul Sewald and Rolls Chapman. And
to each other right now, it's just us talking.
I know. But it's just one of those things where it's when Paul Sewald came out and gave up that World Series, it was deflating. That's how I felt. I felt like all the energy was just taken out of us. The Diamondbacks haven't had a bona fide stud closer in so long. You've tried Mark Melancon. It was Brad Ziegler. I'm trying to remember when the Diamondbacks I didn't have to worry about. Oh, okay. Kevin Ginkel looked great last season, but Kevin Ginkel showed this season, and even Ginkel in the closer role. Justin Martinez was awesome, but he was too young for the role. I think he showed that he wasn't ready for the big moments. AJ Puck was decent, but I don't think AJ Puck was the guy. If you eventually meet the Dodgers in the playoffs, you're going up against Mookie, Freddie, and Otani. You need a guy that's a top 5 stud closer if you're going to want to compete, and you got to give up some pieces to get some pieces. And it wouldn't if you're going to give up a guy like Josh Naylor and some prospects, you got to go get a bona fide stud closer.
Yeah.
And if you want to go for the starting pitcher route, I get it because the injury to Corbin Burns and you're losing Zach Gallen next year. You're losing Miracle. You don't know what's going to happen with those guys. So it wouldn't surprise me. But for me, I'd rather go to the bullpen right now if that was just.
Yeah, I mean, you can have a lot of good horses there, your stars, but if you don't have someone that can come close it out, it's almost kind of pointless. Like, I mean, and it's never great. I mean, a loss is a loss. It's never great having, your star not go anything, but it's so much more deflating having a lead and then having a closer come in that you don't have faith in and then just watching a lead slip away late. That kills momentum. That kills runs and streaks for ball clubs. That's stuff that carries over day to day. That's not something that, sometimes if you give up 3, in the first couple of innings and you lose, you can put that one behind you and move on.
Yeah.
When you give up 3 in the ninth, it's a much different feeling the next day. Like, it takes a while to get past that one.
That first game that Shelby Miller gave up those 2 home runs in the ninth, you could feel it, the frustration. Everyone's just kind of looking around like, guys, what do we got to do here? And the front office has got to notice this. I mean, they're sitting up there going, we got to get the ball rolling here because how long is this going to go on for? I mean, you're playing the Rockies this weekend. Hopefully we're not going to be in those situations.
By the way, we have had our jokes with them. They're finally starting. I'm not saying they're good, but they're playing a little baseball finally.
They won their last series against the Washington Nationals. So
you're looking a little bit like a baseball team. They're still horrible. I'm not saying that they're not, but they're not like historical. Well, they kind of still are historical. They're trending in the right direction. How about that? That's the nicest thing I've said about them in a while. Like,
well, they hit off the Diamondbacks at Chase Field. So you just don't let it be a trap game, as they say in the NFL, just don't let it be one of those where you underestimate them too much. You go out there, play your hardest, and, make sure they know who you guys are.
So the second, we had talked about the All-Star game now starts to kind of get closer.
Yeah.
I don't know who on the pitching staff will get any kind of interest in something like that. We'll see if anyone can pick up speed there. But there are a few guys with the bats that I think are going to have at least a shot at this. If you had to guess right now, who gets an invite, who's on the bubble, and who's got some work left to do that could potentially kind of move into that conversation.
Yeah, quickly shout out to Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly's been outstanding. I would give him.
Think he's going to make the All-Star?
I'd give him a vote just because I may be biased, but
okay.
Merrill Kelly, I think, has been
he's one closer.
Been great for the Diamondbacks this season. Yeah, no, the Ketel Marte rightfully should be the starting All-Star second baseman for the National League. I mean, he's the best of the best. Ketel has shown day in and day out, even with an injury, that he's leading this team. He's making highlight plays every game. It's one of those things where it's a joy to get to watch him play. I mean, he's not only highlighted every night by his peers, on social media. Everyone reposts. I remember he made that one amazing catch in Toronto, and everyone was just saying, "Oh my God, Ketel is just incredible." But even fans of other teams and even people in the national media pay attention, and that's kind of hard to do for an Arizona sports athlete to get the national media to recognize your talent. So, no, Ketel Marte has been outstanding. I fully expect him to be on the team and hopefully be the starter. Eugenio Suarez, he's making a case right now.
Really is.
This guy cannot stop hitting home runs. I mean, I remember when Christian Walker hit his 30 home run season. We're like, Christian Walker hit 30 home runs. This man is 22. We're not even at the All-Star break yet. So, I mean, what he's doing right now is his resurgence. Like, how long can he keep this up? But it's been a joy to watch. I truly think he deserves an All-Star, but I don't know about starting third baseman. But get Gino in the All-Star game 110%. You can vote 5 times a day, dbacks.com/vote. So but I know the Diamondbacks have been pushing for Gino, and the Diamondbacks team, all the players have been saying, reposting and saying, we got to get Gino to the All-Star game now. And he's kind of been that heart and soul, just that jolly good luck charm, throwing his hands out, the heart, and get the goggles, and there's something about him. It's his charisma, it's his swagger, it's his kindness, and just him being welcome to everybody and everything. And he represents Arizona very, very, very well. I think the whole ball club is behind him for him getting to Atlanta.
You think any chance Corbin Carroll at this point would be in the mix? I mean, he's got the best WAR right now on the team, and his numbers aren't bad. It's just it's a tough position to work your way into. Also, is the other half.
Corbin Carroll, I think, will always be in the conversation. I think Corbin Carroll is one of the best athletes in the MLB. He, after his injury, he had a little bit of a slump. I think that might be hurting him at this point. But if Corbin gets on an All-Star bid, I don't think it'd surprise anybody at this point. But I truly think if you were to ask Corbin about the All-Star game, he'd probably say the same thing. He's like, yeah, they'd be great, but I think Gino deserves it. I think Cattell deserves it. He knows, he was hampered by injuries, and when he came back, and even now, Corbin's injured. He just got hit on the hand, so it's like, how long is he going to be out for now? Hopefully, it shouldn't be too long. He said it was just a little bit of a bruise, but I wouldn't be surprised if he got a bid, but starting, I'm not too sure. And if he did get left out of this year, I think people would understand.
So if I put the over under at 2.5, pushed in the over, where are you at with that?
I'm gonna do the under.
I'm go under.
I'm gonna go there.
2 feels like the number.
I think Cattell and Gino get the bid.
Yeah, I do think there was a couple of guys that are right there on the bubble, and if they can have a big push, they can get themselves in that mix.
And Corbin's been hitting the long ball too, so people love the long ball. So when they see Gino and keep the MLB keep posting the Corbin and Gino just keep hitting those home runs, they're like, all right, he's killing it. So,
the last thing we really want to talk about, kind of happening away from the field, something that's kind of been lingering with this ball club for a while now, but some good news. Obviously they get the approval of from the state chance to kind of get a few renovations and stuff, and kind of in a much needed situation.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about that? I mean, the I think it was 1811 vote. Was that what the ended up being? 1911. What's the pay on this? Kind of what are the next steps, and kind of what does this mean for the D-backs?
Yeah, so it was late last night when this came down, and this is great news for the Arizona Diamondbacks. I mean, it's been very stressful on everybody, I think. You just lost the Arizona Coyotes. So the last thing this city wants to do is lose another professional sports franchise. The House Bill 2704, it's just one of those things where it was about a tax recapture bill. So if you go to the game, or go to any game, go to any concert, any event at Chase Field, and you were to spend money on a ticket or merchandise or food, a percentage of that tax money would now go into renovations for Chase Field. A lot of the oppositions were saying, okay, well, then you're taking tax money away from education and certain city projects. And I can understand where they're coming from, but taxpayers themselves, if you're not going to the stadium, you're not paying any taxes. So the only time you're going to be paying is if I buy a Coca-Cola at the game, I have my ticket. That a percentage of that sales tax is now going to go into fixing the electricity, fixing the plumbing, fixing the air conditioning, making sure our roof is fixed. And Ken Kendrick talked about the fan experience as well. He noticed about how the Phoenix Suns and the Arizona Cardinals are upgrading their fan experiences a lot. And so he kind of wants to, bring that same aspect. He recognizes that the stadium's 30 years old, and you got to upgrade it. The stadium's owned by Maricopa County, so that's the biggest thing. If I rent out an apartment and my pipe breaks and my apartment's flooded and my apartment complex tells me, okay, well, you got to fix it. I'm like, well, I just rent the place. I don't own it. But Ken Kendrick is even saying, I'm going to fork up a bunch of money on my end too to make this thing work. So he's even in lockstep with Maricopa County. The next thing is that it's going to go back to the House of Representatives now, and it's going to get to the desk of Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs for approval. And Governor Hobbs has been kind of in sync with this whole thing. She's on board with it. So it's another major step that the Diamondbacks are going to have to go through, is along with getting a new lease signed. The lease is up in 2027. So that's where now the renovations are going to be included in that new lease. But it's a major win. It's a major win. This was a huge hurdle that the Diamondbacks front office needed to get through. It's beautiful for everybody, beautiful for the city. I know businesses, they had a website called Keep Arizona Major League, and there's this one restaurant in the area called Crown Public House. A lot of people there, Donnie and Jason, the owners, great people. Lissa, she works there, she's awesome. And a lot of the people who work there, really good people. And this is helping our community, helping our economy. No one wants to see the Diamondbacks leave, and especially in that stadium where you have one of the most iconic Game 7 victories. That stadium should be there, in downtown for years and years and years to come. And I'm glad that we're steps away from that happening.
So assuming the following steps do get signed off on and does go through, what's the timeline on something like this? When would you start seeing? You said 27 or 2027 would be
27 releases up. So the ball's got to get rolling soon. If I wouldn't have an exact date or timeline of when I know they want to get it done as soon as possible, but now, like I said, it's going back to the House. It's got to get through Katie Hobbs, and she's got to approve it. But once that happens, I would assume you'll be hearing something within the next year and a half, but it could be sooner, it could be later. I have no timeline on that though.
Do they have an idea of like how much this will generate? Like what's the price tag on the tax? Like what this would create as far as expendable money for the renovations or anything like that?
There is, and all of that will be on keeparizonamajorleague.com. What they're broadcasting it's going to be a lot, but
yeah, well, renovations are cheap on anything on a project this big. It's going to be massive.
How much Maricopa County has brought in from this stadium over 30 years? Because it's not just the
generate a lot of money having pro teams, and you have when they get the sales tax, like there's a reason cities want to have them there, especially when they get good, because you generate an insane amount of money off of it as well.
And it's also the college football bowl games that you have there. It's the Green Days, it's the Guns N' Roses events, it's all the big Morgan Wallens who come through. You're Maricopa, and that's the Dimebacks. That's all Maricopa County. So Maricopa County should definitely want to be on board with this, because they've made so much over the last 30 years when it comes to just other events. Phoenix Suns, make the NBA Finals. Diamondbacks make the World Series. I mean, there's been so many events, and that just shines a light on Arizona. We've had the Final Four come here. We've had so many things that have come here. MLB All-Star Game has come here, and so the Diamondbacks in Maricopa County hopefully should be getting this lease done sooner rather than later. And I know it was something around a 30-year lease is from what I'm hearing.
Not bad. Keep them there for a while.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
Well, that is some good news. And I think it feels like the same synopsis, the same kind of the final result right now for the D-backs. I'm right there lockstep with you that like still too early.
Yeah.
Like we can get an arm or two in the pen. It would really go a long way to make me feel like this team should be full on, buyers and can make a push right now.
Yep. No, I couldn't agree more. I think this team, I think they are going to be buyers. I think Mike Hazen has come out and said he doesn't want to give up on these guys, and I believe him. I think Torey Lovello is going to him and Hazen definitely want to see this thing through, and you just got to get it's been the bullpen. It's always been the bullpen. I know he believes in Ryan Thompson. I know he believes in Shelby Miller, and if we get to the playoffs and those guys are on a roster, we're gonna see what happens. But
you sound really excited about it.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
He believes in them. That's all.
I truly think the Diamondbacks could make a wild card run. I do think they could make a wild card run. I think the division's gonna be out of hand. But that's the Diamondbacks, and that's baseball. If you come into the halfway through September and you're 2 games out of a wild card spot and you won the last 8 of 9, look out.
Yeah, they're only 3 back right now, so I mean they're in the mix. So
yeah.
All right, Ben, I appreciate it. We got it.
Oh, anytime.
ready for a game though. So tune in
Heck
for that.
yeah,
Keep
let's do it.
make it 2 in a row. See that?
Yeah, got to beat the Rockies. Got to get it done. Coors Field. Let's
Got
you
to.
know it.
Maybe
It looks like a nice night out there. It looks like a lot cooler than it is here in downtown Phoenix.
yeah, no doubt, man. I appreciate it. Have a great night.